In life in general, the word surrender, it gives a connotation to a lot of people. It's like giving up, like not really going for what you are seeking. So, what is your interpretation, or how would you define what surrender is?
That's a great question. And it really leads into the thrust of the bigger work, not only my work when I'm teaching, but the bigger work of spiritual evolution and stepping into a higher vibration. So, the way that I like to define it is that let's do a little preface first. So, I'll say that when we look at the human consciousness, we have many different aspects, but just to make it easy, I'm going to divide it up into two aspects. So we'll call it the lower aspect, which contains the ego, it contains the psyche, it contains what I'll call the lower mind. And these parts of us have many different aspects incorporated in them. So, say, for instance, we go through some type of traumatic event, and then we create a part that's trying to help protect us from that event. An example of this is like a 4-year-old whose mother abandons the family, and then he says, oh, well, I can't trust women now. And then he's 35 trying to have a relationship and he can't have it, right? So all of these different parts that are trying to be in control, that are trying to help us, but really they actually hurt us long term. Like another example is the part that says that we're not good enough, right? So imagine all of these parts. If they were running the show, then it can cause a lot of chaos in our life. And that can look like power over behavior. That can look like, grasping for more money. That can look like collapsing into victim consciousness. That can look like treating others terribly in the victimizer consciousness, right? So that's the lower part. When I say surrender, what I'm really talking about is surrender to our higher self. Surrender to all aspects of that. So that could include the lowest part in terms of what I teach. The lowest aspect of that is what I call adult consciousness. It's part of our higher mind and our higher ego. Our higher consciousness, which can be connected to infinite intelligence. Our higher self, which has many different aspects to it. For instance, the higher self witness consciousness, which is something that I use a lot of in somatic awakening, as well as our own connection, what I call the conduit of divinity. And even beyond that, our unified intelligence, the unified oneness, and all that is, right? So when I say surrender, what I'm talking about is really trusting our higher consciousness enough to lead. To have that, our higher self and higher consciousness sitting in the seat of our lives at the head of our table, so to speak, and leading our lives. And that can take quite a bit of work because we have to really come into relationship and healing and softening and care for all of these hurt, contracted parts in the lower ego in order for that to happen. But for sure, it's not waving the white flag. It's not surrendering like, oh, I'm going to give up. I have no free will. No, that's not what we're talking about at all. As a matter of fact, you get more integrated to your sovereign free will when you connect and live from your higher self.